Netflix's Carmen Sandiego is something I had some hope for, and I gotta say, I was not disappointed. I really enjoyed my time watching through it and getting wrapped up in the characters and the story and everything, which is kinda weird. So many adaptations or reboots come out, and a lot of the time they're pretty underwhelming or just plain stupid in terms of movies, but when it comes to TV, they've been having hit after hit. I'm just a little surprised, but I find it very refreshing that at least for television animation, or web animation in this case, that we've been getting pretty good shows. I really am happy that we have this going on now.
The show must go on.
The show is based off of the old 80s cartoon and live-action educational show, and even draws some parallels to it because this one's gonna have a live-action movie with the voice actress Gina Rodriguez playing the role as well. The premise is about this woman who attended an academy called Vile, subtle, that trained people to be thieves, and she chose to defect from and only steals from other thieves from now on, particularly from Vile. It works to add a nice sense of depth to the main character. You do find yourself rooting for her efforts. The show manages to play a bit with the expectations. It can sometimes keep you on your toes, which should be expected from a spy-based series rooted with espionage. It works on a level for those who didn't watch the original series to be able to follow along without needing to watch the originals, which is what every good adaptation or reboot should do. Just work as its own thing. That's something this show honestly does perfect to a T. You could just sit down and watch this even if you weren't really a fan of the original cartoon or live action series.
Total win-win.
The characters are definitely a strong point of this series. Carmen herself has a strong sense of depth because she was raised by this organization that she thought was good, but eventually found out were the bad guys all along. Granted, with a name like Vile, she should have figured that out a little sooner, but I digress. When she was young, she thought all they do is just steal items for fun, but she defected from them because she finds out they're willing to kill people to get what they want. But her own code of honor prohibits her from going so low, so you find her motivations relatable in a sense. She has a good group of friends who help her out on her capers. You have Player, who acts as her eyes in the sky guy, or more or less someone who helps hack stuff and get her into places that she needs to get into. You also have the brother and sister duo named Zach and Ivy. They all work great to provide Carmen with the support that she needs to pull off her missions. Like sometimes they'll work as a double for her to replace herself with, or as the sort of getaway drivers. They're pretty good, and they're all very fun and likable. There's this detective named Devenu who gets recruited by this group named Acme to find Carmen. He basically has a major grudge against her, and he just doesn't like the fact that she's bested him so many times. So he's just made it his mission to go after her because he really believes she's the villain in all of this. He's a fairly egocentric goof who gets way in over his head. He tries so hard to get Carmen, but he often fails to hilarious results.
You! Haha! I knew you were behind!
Way to shake a tail.
There's also the organization of Vile that acts as the main antagonist in the show. Their main thing is to try to steal artifacts from around the world and to have a global monopoly of the world market. The situations between the characters makes for a very entertaining and engaging show. You are left wanting to know how things will play out and what's going to happen next with everyone. So I gotta say, bravo to the writers for these characters. I really find myself engaged and wanting to find out what's going to happen to them. I really find myself just engaged by all of them.
Great.
The show is able to retain that educational value the original series had. They'll teach you about certain geographical landscapes and their exports and such whenever Carmen travels to a new exotic location. It's a nice little touch that keeps the show within the spirit of the original series and just something that helps educate you about that location. You actually do manage to find yourself learning some things about this, like the history of those places or just sort of nice exports and such. It's just very, very pleasant.
The Southeast Asian country is situated between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. And get this, it's made up of 17,000 plus islands. Who knew there were that many on the planet?
Did you know that all those islands contain the fourth largest population in the world after China, India, and the United States?
That's a lot of mouths to feed.
No doubt the reason Indonesia produces 70 million tons of rice a year. It's their staple food, Player.
It says here some islands are home to the Komodo dragon, the world's largest lizard. They can grow up to 10 feet long.
I'll skip the petting zoo, but I've always wanted to see Wayang shadow puppetry. It's over 1,000 years old, but still performed at festivals there today.
The animation is very pleasing to the eyes. It has these absolutely gorgeous backgrounds that have this hint of Art Deco style to them. The characters' motions work pretty well when they need to. Like, almost every frame just feels like it should be framed and put on a wall. I just really appreciate the amount of effort they put into how gorgeous this freaking show looks. It's just absolutely just amazing to look at.
Let's chase that paper.
This is a great reboot that works very much as its own thing while having nice callbacks here and there. The characters are the major driving force as well as the story. You get wrapped up in everything that's going on, you will lose yourself in the gorgeous background work. Like, the people who drew this deserve a raise, and I mean it. This just looks so damn good. Just about everything in this reboot works. If you're a fan of Carmen Sandiego, I think you'll get some nice enjoyability out of it without having to really focus so hard on whether or not it's like the original. I think it captures the spirit of the original just fine. And if you're just someone who likes the spy genre and like engaging story and characters, you'll like this too. It's just a show for everybody. But that's just a thought.